doing? My name's Dave, and if you gotta do all the talking with your hands today because your face isn't on camera to you can call me Daveypoo, the mobile music minstrel. How you doing? That's right. Today I've got Eventide's Blackhole Pedal on the table. This thing is amazing. All right, let's talk about it. So, for all of you that are familiar with Blackhole Reverb, the app, well, Eventide's put out Blackhole Reverb, the pedal. You might ask, why would I care about having a standalone unit if I've got the same thing on my iPad? Well, I can think of a lot of use cases. I've talked about this in some of my guitar videos before, but I don't know about you, but having a giant pane of glass out with me on a gig doesn't make me feel very confident. So having something that's, made of metal that can get kicked around and, thrown down the street and still work on the gig that night, probably not necessarily a bad idea. So I can totally see a use for this. Today I'm going to do some walking through the knobs here and the functionality just to remind you of what this thing does. You can see here on the screen that they are nearly identical. A couple of the knobs got a different name from the other, but they have the same functionality. So you've got the mix knob here on both. You've got gravity right next to that. You've got feedback right here. Okay. You've got size and low and high. Now, if you hit this little button up on the top, you get second functions for the knobs that have the gray writing underneath. So I could click this and I can get now delay, Q, out, rate, and depth. And the app, you see that the resonance knob is equates to the Q here. Okay, they're the same function, just called something different. Here you got pre-delay in the app, and you got delay here. Okay, and then you click that function to get back to the main ones. This pedal feels amazing. The knobs are really solid and really fun to move. They've got some weight to them, so they turn nice and slowly. The pedal is like a nice strong pedal, but it doesn't have a hard click, so you see it doesn't make a sound when I turn it on and off. It's really kind of nice. It's just beautiful, the brushed metal. I mean, it's one of those things where I just want to touch it. I get so excited about apps all the time that I forget the joy of having a physical device to touch. So then you've got, your turn on and turn off, and then you've got the freeze function here. Why am I using this today? Why am I even demoing this? Again, I might have a physical pedal, but I got this thing on my iPad, so why do I care? Well, I'm going to tell you why I care. One of the best things about this pedal is that it has MIDI functionality. So you see, I've got a USB cable running out here. Okay, this is the power on the back, but this one here is the USB. I've got the audio input. I've got audio outs. So let's see if you can see my audio input here, audio out, left and right. As I'm running stereo out of this, I'm running my into my Behringer Model D is running into this, and I'm running out in stereo. I've got, you see my Keith McMillan keyboard here. Now I've got two, this one on the screen and then one on the desk to the side. The one on the screen is only going to be used to change patches inside the pedal. And I'm going to talk about that in a little more depth in a second. The other Keith McMillan keyboard I got over here is to play stuff, so you can actually hear what's going on. Hey, go figure. In apeMatrix here, as I'm always hosted in apeMatrix, I've got this thing MIDI'd to the max. I'm using gain pan here at the start, and you see I got my little instance down in the bottom corner here. Gain pan is just raising the input gain of the Behringer Model D. My UMC 404 HD by Behringer, the interface I use to go into the iPad, has a very low output. So because of that, I need to kick up the gain to make it usable. So I'm using gain pan there, and you see I'm just running it into gain pan and then right back out again. Then I've got, oops, I'll leave that open. Then I've got two instances of send MIDI. Now, gain pan and send MIDI are free AUV3s that come with apeMatrix when you purchase it. There are 8 channels for each instance of send MIDI, and I've got them sending control messages, channel 1, out to the pedal. Now this is so that, okay, for instance, say I had this pedal on the floor. Say I had a whole table worth of gear and I'm doing a live gig and I want to be able to kick the reverb on and off with my foot. But what if I want to have active control over the knobs and the knobs are in my feet? Well, boom, now I've got that control here in apeMatrix. Now, these knobs aren't motorized, so if I move the knobs here on the iPad, you're not going to see any change here, but you're going to hear a change. So let's just listen to this. Let's make sure we go through. I'm going to select first patch again. Here's the sound. Let's turn this off. Here's the sound I have for my Behringer. Just a, you know, a Moogie patch, you know, nothing, no big deal. But I wanted to use something that's commonly used, so now you'll hear what it sounds like with Blackhole the pedal. But now maybe that mix is too much. So I can just go to the iPad here, bring down the mix level, bring it all the way down if I know. None. Everything. Now I can still change it with the knob also. So whichever one was moved last takes precedence, okay? And I've got this set for everything. You can see here, expression pedal. So now there's an expression pedal input on the back here, which I chose to do it via MIDI. You can either control the expression via MIDI, or you can use it via a traditional rocking expression pedal. And so I don't have that set up today. I have it do it via MIDI, but you can morph between patches and things like that with an expression pedal, and morph between settings. Very much, it takes the place of the ribbon controller here that we're used to seeing. This ribbon controller is replaced by the expression pedal input here, okay? Or now here on MIDI, this here. You got your tap tempo settings, active bypass, freeze, mix, gravity, feedback, size, low, high, delay, cue, depth, rate, out, okay? All of the functions here are editable here on the iPad, and that's not all. The other thing you can do is, now you see there are 5 LEDs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they correspond to the 5 different patches that are preloaded in here. If I hit freeze, and then I hit active again, goes to the next setting. Okay, so now it goes back to 5. I can only store 5 presets manually on this thing, but if I use MIDI, I can have, I think, up to 127 patches. Okay, there's only 5 LEDs here. How do I access them? Well, that's where this second keyboard comes in. On page 2 here, I'm using MFX Convert. This is Convert. It takes one incoming MIDI signal and converts it into another MIDI, or outgoing MIDI signal. So I've got notes coming in, and it's changing it to be program changes going out. So if I choose, let's see, if I choose note, I think C0 is the, well, here, I'll choose the conversion. C1. So you see here, from note C0 to program change 1. So this keyboard here is set up. That's program 1. Now watch the LEDs on Blackhole. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I get to 6, it's going to light up just these bottom 2 to show me that I'm beyond the 5. 6. And I've put up to 12 different ones in here. Okay, so let's hear what I've got. That's patch 1. That's 2. That's 4, 5. And then what is 6? 7. 8. Ooh, that's sick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, and 12. I could keep going. If I wanted to get more complicated with MIDI, I could set up individual channels for these 2 keyboards. Right now they're sending on the same channel and they're cross-populating messages and things like that. But you get the idea that you could have one controller dedicated to just changing patches for the device. And I mean, 127 patches? Are you kidding? I can't imagine that you would need that many. That's more than any gig I've ever played. You can have a different patch for each song. You can activate this from the floor. So let's see. How do we get it into free? Do we hold it? There we go. So now that freezes it. Okay, and then if I hold this down again, I get back to preset switching mode. So there's dual function inside this if you press and hold. Now, there's a couple of other buttons here. This little one here and this one here. Obviously, this lights up to show you that they're done, but these are also buttons too, and they have some deeper functionality inside to set up like catch-up mode. Like, okay, so maybe you switch patches and then all of a sudden these knobs are now in different positions, but the position that's on the knob doesn't correspond to the memory that's inside the machine. So they have what's called a catch-up mode where it'll retain the positions of the knobs, but then as you move them, it'll blink to tell you how close you are to the setting of the saved patch. It's pretty clever. And you know, it comes with a manual with all the instructions because I got it here and that's how I'm telling you all this stuff. But if you like Blackhole Reverb, the app, then you'll love Blackhole Reverb, the pedal. I mean, this thing is crazy. Oh, and the last thing quickly that I wanted to show you is that there are more than one way to send MIDI messages to this. You don't have to have MFX Convert if that's not an app that you have in your app stock. You know, there's a program change sender in Mosaic. I just went to patchstorage.com and I downloaded somebody's basic MIDI tools. I'll throw all their credits in the bottom to make sure that they get credited for all the hard work they did. Sorry, I forgot your name. But, you know, I just downloaded this free patch storage. Somebody else did all the work for me. You can also use Send MIDI to send program changes. So you can click here. You can choose it to send a control change, a program change, aftertouch, all these different messages. I found this to be a little unwieldy because of it's a fader, basically. So it's the messages it's sending. I found it, I had to tap it a couple of times. It's not exactly clean. It works, but it isn't perfect. That's why I'm choosing to go with MFX Convert here. But the MIDI capabilities of this pedal are astounding, and when you couple that with the control of an iPad, it makes for a really powerful gig tool. So this pedal is incredible. So oh my god, thanks Eventide. This was amazing. Playing with this thing is just unbelievable. This sound is great. And again, I'm coming in mono and going out stereo. So the Behringer D has only got a mono signal coming out of it, and that's this here. These are sending in stereo, and you can send this out in mono too. If I just remove this plug, I'd be sending a mono signal out to the iPad. But I've got a stereo reverb here because I've got stereo out. So, you know, lots of different ways to control MIDI with an external pedal here from the iPad. Go to town. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like this video. If you like this sort of thing and you want me to do more hardware videos, give me a thumbs up and go subscribe to the channel if you want to know more. Click the little bell if you want to, you know, get notifications, and check me out on Facebook, check me out on Patreon, and check me out on Instagram. And, you know, I'm on Twitter, and you can support the channel on Patreon if you want to see more of this kind of shenanigans and more of my hands talking. And Eventide, thank you so much. This was really wonderful to get to play with. I love your stuff so much. Can't wait to see what you guys come out with next. And I'll see you guys next freaking time, baby. Later.